Yes, indeed, Chamberlain. Welcome back to Abuja. Standing by with me are two gentlemen, Mr. Ben Akabueze, who is the Director General of the nation's Budget Office, and Honorable Yunusa Abubakar, who is the Chairman of the House Committee on FRSC. This morning, we are touching on the 2018 budget. You're very welcome to the program this morning, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning, viewers.
Let me start with you, Director General. You know, of course, the budget has just been signed, but we're hearing that, of course, there will be some sort of supplementary budget being sent to the National Assembly shortly. From your vantage point, is the work ending or is it just beginning?
Well, the work never really ends for us. Of course, when we have to do the extra bit of the supplementary, it just makes it more challenging. But we have already also begun work on the next budget.
How far has that gone?
Well, still at the preliminary stages. The starting point usually is to estimate the resources that are going to be available. So the budget starts from the revenues, and then you end up with the expenditure estimate. So right now we are working on the revenue projections for 2019.
Well, certainly later in the conversation we're going to get into the issues surrounding the 2019 budget, but let's start from the 2018. Honorable Member, you know, there's been quite a bit of back and forth between the Presidency and the National Assembly over the just passed 2018 budget. What is your assessment and what is your response, actually, to some of the criticisms that you have heard concerning some of the cuts that have been made to critical items and some of the injections that have been made for the National Assembly?
Well, just like you said, the debate surrounding the budget has been on for quite a while immediately after the President assent of the 2018 budget. I can't say I'm not disturbed with the situation, but this issue of, in inverted comma, saint, sinners, kind of, what people can now say, this blame game, who is wrong, who is right. I think we should appreciate that from the perspective of this is a democratic setup. In a democratic norms, especially in governance, it involves a lot of things. Consultation, deliberation. It has to be a deliberated kind of a base scenario. And that is why the Constitution actually brought in a democratic setup, the parliament. Call it, the parliament, legislators. The judiciary remains in every government, be it military, be it whatever. And the executive are there. The introduction of the legislative arm of government, that is what makes it democratic. Now, and you expect that the role of the parliament has been clearly stipulated in the Constitution. The judiciary, they are there to interpret. And the executive, the planning, the conception, the execution lies on them.
Honorable Member, I really don't. Honorable Member, I don't want to break your thought, but we have to go on a very, very brief break.
Okay.
I really don't want to break your thought, but we will be back in just one moment. You will conclude.
No, I just want to score one point.
Well,
that issue of disagreement.
Yeah, when we come back, you'll conclude your thought.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Our viewers, please do stay with us. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, coming to you live from our Abuja studio. Standing by with me are two gentlemen, Mr. Ben Akabueze, who is the Director General of the Budget Office, and Honorable Yunusa Abubakar, who is the Chairman of the House Committee on the FRSC. Honorable Abubakar, you were finishing your thought. Please go ahead and conclude.
Yeah, just like I said, I'm trying to define a scenario so that people shouldn't look at this disagreement between these two important arms of government as anything really that will deteriorate the progress. Rather, it will deepen. Like I say, in a democratic setup, it is based on, or it thrives on what we call collaborative kind of setup. Collaboration in the sense that you have to make consultation, you have to really have engagement, and then you have to scrutinize. And in so doing, you really have to, because everybody coming from a different background, so that you have a common ground. So to me, before I say it, I mean, my advice is that the public, having elected their parliamentarians, should probably try to find a congruence, a common ground, I mean, a meeting point, so that these two important arms of government, the legislature and the executive, will really thrive and really put, I mean, behind whatever things that is.
You know, Honorable Member, that sounds very beautiful in theory, but in practicality, there are questions as to whether that has actually been going on. Because we know that the National Assembly's budget, their internal budget, was raised from 125 billion naira to 139.5 billion naira, an increase of about 14.5 billion, without any consultation from the executive. And a lot of times you hear the National Assembly say, look, we're not a rubber stamp. But to what extent are you now making the executive your rubber stamp?
I don't really have to look at it from that perspective. Because when you look at the component, yes, the National Assembly's budget has been raised by 14 or so billion. But look at the judiciary. The executive proposes 100 billion, and we raise it to 110 billion. That is not an issue. Again, this gave rise or arises from the fact that we discussed with the executive that we are going to raise the benchmark. They presented a $45 per barrel, considering